Morning, Juliet Elliott here for We Love Cycling. Now, I have just got back from the most fun bikepacking trip up in Wales. I was touring Traws Eryri, which is a route that goes from Machynlleth in mid-Wales up to the north of Wales to the coast to Conwy. Now, the route is a mixture of on and off-road. It is geared towards mountain bikers, although I chose to do it on my gravel bike. And it has a mixture of quiet lanes, lots of climbs, some lovely gravel forestry tracks, some rocky bridleways. It's got it all. It's absolutely brilliant, so I highly recommend you check that one out. What I want to do today, seeing as I am unpacking my bikepacking stuff, is just talk you through what I think on this hot topic of panniers versus rackless bikepacking setups. There is so much debate around this question about which is better and why people are ditching panniers to go to rackless systems and then putting racks on with their bikepacking bags anyway. So I just wanted to dive into this topic and give you a quick summary of why and when I choose to use bikepacking bags and when I might choose to use panniers and a rack instead. So let's begin with the rackless system, which you've got here, where the bags are directly mounted onto the bike at various points, such as the seat post, tent and mat in the back, sleeping bag in the front, 14-litre saddle bag, which is always a bit close to the wheel. And then I've got the bumper bar here on the front to keep my bar bag off the wheel. Very important snack bag. Now that is a fairly common bikepacking setup these days, and it's something that I chose to use when I was riding Traws Eryri. I opt for a setup like this when I want better handling on technical or off-road trails where I want to keep the weight balanced and centered. If I value speed and I want to be more aero, it keeps everything in line, so of course there is less wind resistance than with panniers out on either side. If I want light and fast manoeuvrability, this is the way to go for me. Even going in and out of gates and that kind of thing, it's a lot easier with an inline setup like this. I'd also opt for a setup like this if I'm planning on riding a lot of single track or any narrow trails. If you're going to be going down through ruts, you really don't want panniers sticking out on either side because that could potentially catch. Another reason for riding this rackless system is if you can't fit a pannier to your bike. So not all bikes have eyelets for rack mounts, and although there are some systems that you can use without eyelets, they're not particularly common. I would also always opt for this setup if I wanted to take relatively minimal gear, if I value being fast and light and I want to make sure that I don't overpack. But the main reason why I like this setup is because of the way the bike handles. I prefer the way it feels ridden like this as opposed to panniers, which do take a little bit of getting used to. I just feel that having the weight on either side, either front and back or just at the back, it affects the handling of the bike much more than having everything in line like this. So that's why I tend to prefer it if I'm riding off-road. To my left, you can see my other option, which is the bike that has a pannier rack and eyelets for mounting one, as well as a pannier bag already clipped on. Now, I also like this setup, and in fact, I toured all around Japan with this rack, with panniers on each side and with my tent strapped to the top. It's great. But I choose this setup when I'm going to be riding more on road or on less technical, smoother or easier cycle paths. I also usually take this setup if I'm riding with my kids because you can get in and out of the pannier bags really easily. They're always wanting stuff, and getting in and out of your bikepacking bags can be a real pain. You have to cinch everything down properly, make sure it's all stuffed and balanced. With the pannier bags, you can just get what you want, roll it up as clumsily as you like, and off you go. I also like the fact that you can take the pannier bag off very, very easily. You just take it off when you get to the shops, go inside, fill it with your food shopping, clip it back on, and off you go. I also like these pannier bags when I don't really care about weight and I want to take a lot of stuff and be comfortable. That's why I took that setup to Japan, and it served me very well for that. So those are the main things that I consider when I try to make a decision between my pannier bags and rack and the bikepacking rackless setup behind me. Worth noting that of course there is a little bit of crossover and all of this is just personal opinion. You also might see people mixing and matching from the two different systems. I've seen people with a front rack and a bikepacking saddlebag, or you see people with a very sort of lightweight support at the back to lift the seat pack off the rear wheel. There are so many options out there for you. You don't need to go and spend a lot of money straight away. If you haven't got any of this kit, you could just load up your rucksack, or you could get a dry bag and strap that to your bars. You could strap a sleeping mat to your frame. There are so many possibilities, so don't let lack of equipment put you off.